Well, tonight we're going to talk about a mortgage. Having a mortgage. I was interested to find out after researching the word as I adopted a minimalistic life and I really started to embrace downsizing and living a simple life. I did research and I heard the word thrown around that mortgage, the word mortgage, it comes from a term, I believe a French term that once meant death pledge. The word mortgage comes from a term that once meant a death pledge. You pledge and you're obligated to do something uh, basically until you die or your life's on the line for it. A mortgage in America today, the standard mortgage is either 30 years long or 15 years long. That's the standard time of a mortgage. That's almost, if you got a 30-year mortgage, which I had, if you have a 30-year mortgage, that's almost half your life. Average life expectancy is 80. So having a 30-year mortgage, that's definitely half your adult life, more than half your adult life, because you probably aren't going to get a mortgage until you're 20 or 30 years old at least. So pretty much your entire working life, you will be pledging the majority of your income to your mortgage. Anywhere between 30 to 50% of people's income usually goes to their mortgage. Is having a mortgage a bad thing? Not necessarily. Why? Because you have to take a step back and say, look, a human needs shelter. Okay. Shelter is a primary need of survival to keep the weather, the wind, the snow, the rain, all those different things, keep it away from you so that you don't get sick and that you can survive. But obviously, in today's modern society, houses and different forms of shelter are way more than the basic human needs, way more than the basic essentials. So it's possible that with mortgages, with houses, we've gotten way out of skew and we have a lot more house than we need. Even me, when I was single, I had 1,000 square foot house with 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. I didn't need that. But it was hard to find a quaint little studio condo or something like that in my area. You could find one, but it takes some work. So am I against a mortgage? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Again, I had a mortgage for about 15 years. I had a 30-year mortgage. It has some benefits. What benefits does it have? You have tax deductions on your interest you pay on a mortgage, and of course your property taxes that are sometimes escrowed into the mortgage. Sometimes you can pay your property taxes outside the mortgage. Sometimes they're paid in. But the majority of your income is going to go to your mortgage. So that causes a lot of people to get certain jobs. I was talking about that with a friend today. He brought up a good point. Because I told him, I said, I'm still thinking about a home base, a RV lot, which is by the ocean. And I would get a mortgage. I'd get a 10-year mortgage on it if I got it. And I was talking to him about it, just bouncing off and getting his feedback. There's a couple of people I like to get counsel from just to get their feedback. And he goes, Sam, we ran through the numbers and everything. Ultimately, it's up to you. You're in a good position. You've downsized your life. You sacrificed. He goes, and just remember, of course, everything has seasons. He goes, look, you have to think about it like this, too. Even in the season of your life where you were living at your means or, maybe even above your means when you were younger, he goes, that also caused you to advance your career because you had to work harder. You had to put a lot of effort into your career to maintain that. And he goes, I'm not saying that's always the right thing. He goes, but now you're middle age. And now as you downsize, you still have a career. You have a career, you have experience. You moved up the ladder as if you were going to do this lifestyle forever. So, it's actually good that you didn't downsize too early in life because then what would be your motivation to advance your career? And you certainly don't want to retire broke or retire with no work experience because throughout your working career, you build up in America, you build up into your Social Security fund. Okay. and you build up if you have a pension, 401k. And as you get older, you're less employable. As you get older, you can do less things because as you get older, your physical body deteriorates and there's less opportunity. Look, when you're very old, you're a little bit less marketable. And when you're very young, you're a little bit less marketable. So that's just the way it is. Sometimes you get discriminated against because you're too young, sometimes because you're too old. So the prime earning years of a person's life are in their 30s through 50s. That's your time window, that approximate 20 years on when you make your most money, on average. There's exceptions. And on average, between 30 to 50, that's when you will pay the bulk of your mortgage. And that will determine your job, your lifestyle, etc. So it's all a cascading thing. But there should be given some thought to this, okay? Because it's a huge part of a person's life. So your guiding thought, again, should always be living below your means. Because then even when you take out a loan, a mortgage, I don't believe it's a death pledge if it's below your means, if you have adequate savings and little to no debt. Yes, you lose some flexibility, okay? Yes, you lose some freedom. But a death pledge is really when you have no, having savings and living below your means gives you a level of flexibility. Death pledge is pretty much you have no flexibility and you're dying every day. You're dying going to a job that doesn't inspire you, to living in an area that doesn't inspire you. And that can really make life sour. I am living in an area that inspires me. And I'm at a point in my life where I made a conscious decision. You have to make a conscious decision. You have to put action together with a plan to change your life. Your life will not change by you waiting for someone else to change it. Doesn't matter if it's your mother, your lover, or your boss. No one wants your dream more than you. No one wants your dream more than you. And so some of these things that have, some of these terms, mortgages, loans, debt, some of these things are not always necessarily evil no matter what. I think you should be very, very cautious about some of these things because they can be very harmful. And I think there's something to be said, being that the word itself, mortgage, goes back to death pledge. Liz, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the tip. Shout out to you and the Corrado. How's the Corrado doing, man? Which is a Class B RV that I did look at. One of the cheapest Class Bs you can get, only 18 foot long. I like that. And I think about that. Liz, what's your dream? Share with me your dreams, guys. Put in the comment, Liz, but I definitely want to know, what's your goal? Is it to have a home base? Is it to live without a home base? To live without a mortgage? A modern anthropologist, he called me too. Yeah, I remember Nas said that in a song. Deep throats, they try to swallow this. Deep, just like an anthropologist. An anthropologist is someone who studies human nature and human culture. And I am very much that. I've always been an observer. As I've gotten older in life, that's helped me. Even as I make these decisions and even some of these live feeds, it's me just talking it out, okay? When you go to a therapist office, all you're doing is talking it out. Sometimes they give you tools. You have to talk it out. Then you have to take kind of what you got from it, and then you got to apply it to your life. So I'm talking out to me. Thank you again, Liz. I'm talking out to me what a mortgage means. Again, it's a loan for a shelter. Okay, not necessarily evil because we all need a shelter, whether it's a Class B RV like a Corrado, like Liz has, or whether it's, you got to park it somewhere. So maybe you don't want a mortgage. Maybe you just want to travel from campground to campground. Maybe you want to have a camping pass. I often said the 1,000 Trails Pass is very attractive if you're willing to move. Of course, you have gas costs, maintenance costs that you have to factor in. So it's not just free. I'm staying at a campground. So that costs money. I supplement it with free parking. But I would say on average, I pay less than a mortgage. I don't build up equity though. A mortgage or having a home builds up equity. That's true. If you rent, you're outputting some money. You can rent for cheaper than a mortgage sometimes. Rents are high. It's always in proportion. But renting gives you a little bit more flexibility. Okay. A mortgage, again, you have some flexibility if you have savings and it's below your means, but it's not a liquid asset. It usually takes minimum 30 to 60 days to sell and usually about 6 months for the average home sale. So you have to wait a little bit longer to get in and out of it. Renting, you usually have anywhere from a month-to-month lease to a 6-month lease or a year lease. In a campground, you can go day to day. Now, that's what I do. A campground here in Florida can cost you anywhere from $22 a day to $30 a day. That's the average. Yeah, if you have disability and you're a Florida state resident, you get 50% off of that. I always want to make a note. Or if you're a senior citizen, you're over 65 and a Florida resident, you get 50% off. Or if you're fostering a family, you get 50% off. And you could share a campground with one other person, I think, as far as one other vehicle. So there's ways to do that, but I'm a loner. I'm a loner. And I like the flexibility. I go campground. I say I want to stay a day, 2 days, give my credit card. I don't have to take care. There's electrical service there. There's showers. I don't have to take care of anything. A mortgage makes sense sometimes, even financially. If you get to a certain point in your life where you're blessed and you have an income that you can sustain and you've paid off debt and you want to balance your portfolio with some other thing other than cash, you may want to put some in real estate and you may want to get a mortgage. Why would you get a mortgage and not pay cash? My view on that is, look, I don't think cash is your biggest ally in a hardship. Okay. If you had $100,000 in cash and there was a house for $80,000, would I recommend buying it for $80,000 cash? I personally wouldn't. A lot of people disagree with that in the financial community. Why? Because I think your cash savings is your biggest buffer between you and having to go to a family member and borrow money, or having to go to a bank and borrow money, or a loan shark or whatever. So I would tend to believe that you want to put a mortgage on a piece of property rather than buy cash. The interest is deductible, and you are paying interest though, and you're going to pay more interest than the deduction, but it keeps your cash saving at a certain level. And if times get really hard, if you lose your job, to me, you want more cash savings than just a paid off property. But that's me. I'm not saying that's always right. I'm talking out in my mind how I look at life. There's a lot of variables. But I think the biggest thing when it comes to a mortgage and a death pledge is, and how it relates, is that you are basically committing to an area for a period of time. You don't have to stay in a house for the entire time of the mortgage. You can sell your house before the mortgage is paid off. That's what I did. Why did I sell my house? I sold my house because I bought my house young at 22, and I bought it with the help of my parents. That was probably a mistake looking back, but I'm thankful for my mom. She never threw it back in my face. My father threw a couple things back in my face. But at 22, I really didn't know what I wanted to live. I didn't know myself. I didn't know life. I didn't know my career. Again, I'm thankful a little bit. I pushed myself. I kind of lived above. Here's the one benefit that living above my means did. It pushed me to advance my career. Because if I was living below my means from day one, would I have pushed myself to advance in my career? Probably not. Not to the extent I did. And I do think there's a certain level in life you have to build up your career. But I don't think you want to spend your entire career living paycheck to paycheck, because that is a death pledge. I think you want to figure out where you want to live. I want to live by the beach. Every day I thank God. I really do, guys. I thank God that he gave me the grace to get down here to Florida and to live where I want to live and to explore Florida. There's a pocket of Florida I really enjoy, guys. And that's the thing. There are some people I watch on YouTube that inspire me. I could tell they really enjoy to travel every couple days or every couple weeks to different states. I don't enjoy that. I'm not saying I'll never go back on the road and go to different states. But for me, this is just for me, Florida's special. It has everything I want. So it's like when you're fully satisfied, why do you want to go somewhere else? I don't. I'm fully satisfied with Florida. The landscape, the culture, the people, the climate. Even in the summer, guys, I like it in the summer because it's less people, to be honest with you. I like it hot and humid. I like cooling off in the ocean. And so, that type of love for a place says, okay, well, maybe you'd want to get a mortgage there because you're willing to commit to an area. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily should, but I'm talking this out with you. You should really feel passionate about a place that inspires you before you make some type of commitment. And not just emotional, okay? I've been in Florida for over a year now. But I visited Florida, those who watch my channel, for several years before I came down here full time to scout out to land, to get a feel if it was how it was in real life versus YouTube or on TV. And even though I came to Florida when I was younger, I needed to experience it in my adult life. And so, like most people tell you, you should go to an area and you should live there for a year or 2 years before you figure if you're going to buy. Why? Because there, you have to really get an honest perspective of what it is. You don't want to go on just emotion. Stress is a very real thing. And stress is usually caused by you feeling like you have to act right now. You got no room for flexibility, and you're like all nervous about it. And I've been there. I feel that sometimes. But you want to slow down a little bit. Okay? You want to slow down a little bit. Now, there's times in life where you got to strike when the iron's hot. But you want to make sure you go through a checklist. Okay? Is it below your means? Okay? Is it an area you want to commit to? Do you want to give up some freedom? Everything is trade-offs. John Suttles, good to see you, brother. I was looking at one of my old videos from Stuart, Florida. Great area, guys. Treasure Coast is my favorite. I love Treasure Coast. And what I could tell you, John, I think you got family down here. You've been here, brother. You got to get here, man. Boston's a disaster. Boston's a disaster. I hate to say I love you, brother. Florida's waiting for you, John. It's waiting for you and your dogs and whatever you want to bring. But what I could tell you is you don't have to get a mortgage, though. Why don't you have to get a mortgage? Because life is what it is. It's meant to be lived, right? So sometimes even me, I get anxious for a home base. But I say to myself, Sam, I am actually living the life without a home base. I'm in Florida every day. I can go to the downtowns. I can go to the beaches. And don't forget to be content in the moment and actually experience life. Because a home or a mortgage will not allow you to enjoy life more. It may be some icing on the cake. There's nothing wrong with icing on the cake, guys. That's great. And I don't even recommend you eat too much cake. But life, the meat and potatoes of life, or the tofu of life, the core of life, is a level of contentment and actually enjoying life now. Okay. Now, there's been seasons of my life where I was in a fury. Like I was in a fury to sell my house. I was in a fury at the end to get out of New Jersey, but I did things in steps. Okay. I went through the checklist. The checklist was downsize first. The checklist was see if living in your car will last. The checklist is stay in New Jersey for 2 years until you can sustain and figure out a way to make income in Florida to your liking. And then the checklist was get down here and see if you want to get a home base. But through the process, enjoy the journey. I mean, I look back sometimes even at my old videos living in my car with no mortgage in New Jersey, even when it was snowing, and I was enjoying the journey. I enjoyed the anticipation of coming to Florida. I enjoyed not having a mortgage for once in my adult life. Okay, I still worked a job as if I did, but I enjoyed for the fact that, Sam, my full dream would be to retire early or to live off my creative gifts. And that's, slowly but surely building. Is there a guarantee? There's no guarantees in life, guys, none. But there are. Dreams come true through the grace of God, through planning and through action, and through some level of a checklist, some direction, some structure. Thank you, Tony, for quoting me, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, contentment is key. To be thankful for the moment, to enjoy life now. Every day, kind of like sometimes when I'm here in Florida and I'm towards the end of my day, I say, Sam, get in the ocean. Every day I have a goal to fully submerge in the ocean. Why? Because I noticed this even when I spend a lot of time at the Jersey Shore, most people who live by the beach do not make it a daily goal to get in the ocean. Most people who go to the beach barely put their feet in the sand, or they just walk up to the ocean and put their tippy toes in the sand. There's a huge life experience missed. It's a huge difference between putting your feet in the sand, your feet in the ocean, and fully submerging in the ocean. Fully submerging in the ocean is enjoying the journey even before you have a home base, even before you move to Florida, even before you have a mortgage or whatever, or even after you pay off your mortgage. If you don't fully submerge in the ocean, to me, why do you live in Florida, Sam? What was the purpose to come to Florida if daily you're not feeling the environment? And that pushes me. Okay. Goals are good because they push you. You have to be pushed a little bit in life. Now, you don't want to be pushed too much. I understand that. None of us do. We want to go at our own pace. That's why you should downsize. That's why even if you do get a mortgage, it should be below your means so you can go at your own pace. When you have a mortgage and you're at or above your means, you're in the rat race. That's the pace of the rat race. And I got in that. Now, the one thing the rat race did do was to push me to run a little faster and build my career. So it's not all negative. Okay, but you got to wake up or else it can become all negative. Thank you again, Liz. Good to see you, Gina. Everyone allowed check and love and respect to Israel. Journey with Jordan. Journey with Jordan says failing to plan is failure to plan is planning to fail. Your life will change for the worse if you don't take action, in my experience. That's a great comment, brother. Shout out to Tennessee. Guys, you have to have a goal. Aim for the moon, even if you miss, you're amongst the stars. There's been some goals that I set that I truly failed at, and it crushed me. Nothing will hurt more than a goal that fails and a dream that dies. Nothing. Well, I want to correct myself. The only thing that hurts more than a goal that you fail is having no goal, is sitting idle, being stagnant. Because I look back, even through some of the hardest pain I felt in my life of failed goals or not fully achieved, I look back now and I say, you know what? Because of having goals, I made it further in life and further to my destination than if I never had a goal. So, I don't want to give you some cliche, but I am saying that goals are valuable. And aim for the moon. Even if you miss, you're still further than you started. You're still amongst the stars. Good to see you, Chrissy. Thank you for the love and support. Liz, moving for a year. Will live small, low maintenance. A Corrado, I love that, Class B. A private, accessible pod. So are you going to go to campground to campground? I like the Corrado, guys. I looked at that. Now, if you get a Corrado, Class B or Class C RV, they're almost just as much as a house. Let's say you get one for $60,000. That could be a small house. For most of them, most of RVs, Class Bs that are over $50,000, their mortgage, they don't call it a mortgage, they call it a loan. The same thing, but so their loan is usually they want 20% down, and if you have good credit, they'll finance it over 20 years. Okay, that's why the payments are so low. So what's the difference between financing an RV and a piece of land? Well, the RV tends to go down in value, and the piece of land tends to go up. But the RV, you have a little bit more flexibility geographically. You can change your location and you may enjoy life more. You may actually experience life. And some people, they get very uninspired after a couple years being stuck to one place. And the couple I met, that one of the home bases that I was looking at, or I am looking at, their dream is to sell their property and to get a Class C or a Class B, and they want to travel. Okay, that's a lot of people's retirement dream, to not have a piece of land, to have a motorhome and travel. Now, they will have a home base in a different state. So many people, even with RVs, tend to have a home base. There's very few true nomads, as far as with no mortgage, no home base, no place to go back to. I've been a true nomad, someone with no permanent dwelling for the past 2.5 years. How have I liked it? I definitely liked it in New Jersey because I had no desire to put roots down in New Jersey. None. And as I got to Florida, I wanted to kind of get a feel for it more living here. And then it does play with your mind after a period of time. And especially once you're at, to me, my goal was always to come to Florida. It's always in the back of your mind that you're not fully settled. Staying at campgrounds helps, and it gives you some stability, and sometimes it eases your mind just knowing you're not obligated. A mortgage is an obligation. There's no way around it. Even if it's below your means, it's an obligation. Now, you're always going to be obligated, though, to find some type of place of shelter, whether it's your RV in a campground, whether it's your car in a truck stop, or, whatever type of shelter and whatever type of place it's going to, reside at for at least that night. So these are something that you have to consider, okay? And this is something that, again, should be thought about when you say a mortgage, a house. What are your goals? Okay, where do you want to live? If you don't know where you want to live, what's your travel plans? And always below your means, always. Play around with different levels of income. You know, YouTube channel may take a couple years to monetize, but I did it in steps. DoorDash, you know, I didn't sit there and try to figure it out online. I did some research online and I signed up and I did it for myself for a month. I shared with you guys the information. Why? Because you do things progressively and then you just take action. You come up with a plan and you take action. You know why? Because time is your biggest enemy. Because we all have taken a death pledge once we were born into this world. What's our death pledge? Even if you don't have a mortgage, you're going to die in 80 years. You have an 80-year death pledge. You may not have a mortgage, but you have a death pledge. We are guaranteed to die in this earth. Some people will live to 80, some people less, some people more. 80 is the average, okay? So you should always be having the number 80 tattooed on your forehead, okay? Why? Because you should have a reminder on how urgent you need to live in life. Not over-emotional, not irresponsible, but you should have a level of urgency. You should have goals. You should have a plan. And you should have faith. You know, look, I put a lot of logic and planning and work into my thing, but I also use faith. Use both. Good people around you. And if you can't find any good people, you get no one around you. There's a time in your life where you have to walk totally alone, just you and God. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't even need a pet sometimes. Sometimes you do. I had a pet for 10 years. But you don't always need a pet. Liz says, moving for a job in the Bay Area. Shout out to San Francisco. Look, the housing may be very much overpriced, but the job opportunities are very much in abundance, so it's proportional. Hoping to rent a driveway with an outlet, that's key, and the Corrado out the weekends, planning. The number one utility that you need is electric, okay? Solar cannot really run an air conditioning unless you have a huge solar setup, and most people don't. It's not cost effective. You won't get a return on investment for several years. So you really don't need sewer. You really don't need water, because most places you really don't drink tap water. You really still buy, spring water. And using the the gray and the black tanks could just be a maintenance headache. I think you're better off peeing in a jug and taking a dookie in a trash bag with cat litter and taking a shower at the gym or campground. You know, so you can definitely do without sewer and water. Electric is key if you need air conditioning and heating. But in San Francisco, which I think is, again, one of the most popular nomad states. Why? Because of the weather. Why is Florida a popular nomad state, especially in the winter? The weather. The weather plays a huge part in the RV culture, the RV lifestyle, etc. And that's why in the Northeast, in the winter, there's no one RVing. There's really no one van dwelling or anything like that. Why? The weather. Guys, I got pneumonia basically the second year living in my car in the winter. It's not easy. Okay. So California has a pretty much a moderate climate, especially in San Francisco, which is North California, which it can get very cool and not too hot. So I think that's a great plan. And that's why there's a lot of RVers over there. And I did see the one other YouTuber who he was in San Diego. He found a driveway he can rent with full hookups. It had like its own little place for like $800 a month. So, that's what it is. But I know I went out of a sequence as far as reading comments. We'll go back. I'll go read all the live comments now from the top one. I just kind of free flowing on the beginning structure topic to talk about what was on my heart, sharing some insights. Let's go all live comments now in order. Liz, thank you again for the super chat and love. I appreciate that. Take a hydration break. Take one with me, because drinking more water helps you in life. Okay, you got to take care of your health, guys. Without your health, no matter if you have a mortgage, no mortgage, you got to take care of your health. I appreciate you too, guys. Take the effort to click that thumbs up button. Share the video. Luke, what's up, brother? Sam, my brother. What's going on, man? Positive vibes to you. Luke, thank you, man. Luke, I love you. I appreciate you, man. Positive vibes. Back to you. How's your eBay business going? How's life going? How you feeling, man? I appreciate you, Luke. Thank you for always coming back and being positive. Luke, I'm a lucky man. I had to deal with my landlord. So I got a nice place for $600 a month. That's very reasonable, very cheap. You can't beat that anywhere. I would tend to agree with you. No mortgage is going to be like that. I agree with that. $600 in most places will just be property taxes. So that's a great deal. And that's why it doesn't always make sense to get a mortgage or to buy a house. Sometimes it may be better renting, and you have extreme flexibility and your costs are fixed. Now, the rent may go up every year, a certain percentage, right? But when you own a mortgage, your property taxes go up every year. And your HOA, if you have one, may go up every year. Your utilities may go up. So the value of renting is you have a level of a fixed monthly bill for shelter, at least for a year, and you have flexibility. You don't have to stay there. Your job changes, your life changes, your desires change. You don't have to go through all the process of selling a house and uprooting your life. So there's pros and cons to everything. But that's a good perspective there. Luke, thumbs up to you, brother. Free to be me. What's up, man? Free the land, 40 acres and a mule, no mortgage. Yeah, even if you had no mortgage on 40 acres, and that's like the reparations that were supposedly going to get into play. Even if you had no mortgage, you would still have maintenance. You still have lawn. You'd still want to put some type of shelter on it, whether it's an RV or something, car, and you still have to put utilities on it unless you're going to live totally off the grid. And solar really not run your air conditioning. So if you're willing to live without air conditioning, sewer, septic, etc., then you could just have the land. But you have to tend the land, and you live a very basic life. And I wouldn't want 40 acres. That's too much for me. For some people, maybe they would want it. That's too much for me. I mean, that means I would have to drive at least 40 miles to get into a populated area. I like to be by myself, but I like to be in urban areas, and I like to be in places where there's people around. I may not sit by them, I may not park by them, but I like to be around people somewhat without being around people. I don't like to be in the middle of nowhere. And if you own 40 acres, you're in the middle of nowhere, guys, because even wealthy people, they don't have 40 acres in populated areas. Mar-a-Lago's not sitting on 40 acres. So by the beach and stuff, there's no one that owns 40 acres by the beach. 40 acres maybe in like Idaho, Mississippi, because there's nothing popping there. No disrespect. So it's just something to think about how much land you want. That's something to think about. How much land do you want? How much land do you really want to take care of, to be away from people? And the culture that when you have a lot of land, there's a different culture than when you're in a city, a suburb, or urban area. And so you have to figure out what type of culture you want to be around. Good to see you, brother. Peace be with you, man. I often say throughout all cultures, one of my favorite parts of the Catholic Mass used to be when they say, peace be with you and peace also with you. And like I know in the Jewish culture, I had a guy who used to always say shalom. And in the Muslim faith, I forgot what they used to say to me. I don't want to say the term wrong, but through all the major religions, and I don't know about Buddhism, but through all the major religions, there's usually a term for peace. And that's a blessing. When someone wishes you peace, that's the ultimate blessing. When you have peace, there's nothing like it. Peace is the opposite of stress. Stress is the opposite of peace. Now, when you have a mortgage, you may not have peace. But when you're never settled, you may not have peace. You want to live below your means, guys. That's always the key. No matter mortgage, no mortgage, home base, no home base, you want to live below your means. You want to have peace. Peace is a blessing from the Lord, no matter what your religion. And it's a blessing when someone offers you peace. Never look down or never take for granted when someone says, peace be with you, in whatever way they say it. It's a blessing. Let's continue to read. Liz, a modern day anthropologist. Well, I tied in perfect timing. Good job, Liz. Luke, it's so sad that rent is so out of control and the prices are so overinflated that the average working person who works 50, 60 hours a week can't even afford a decent place, live in a major city. Well, you actually contradicted because you actually said you just found affordable rent. So you make a valid point, but we also have to be in balance so that we're giving a fair perspective. You just found an affordable place, and that sounds like a good deal. So they're out there if you look, and you have to put some effort into it, though. And look, I mean, overall, the economy is up. Now, I always say that with a little bit of hesitation, because if a person's going through bad times, it doesn't matter if the economy's up or down. It's down for you. Like I remember in 2005, I was in bad financial situation. This was before the housing crash. And I remember everyone saying like the economy was so good, and I was actually in a bad place. And I remember saying, well, I don't think the economy's good. So it's a little bit relative, but even when the economy wasn't good, I was still working. Whether it was at a pizzeria or something, guys, when you're totally lost in life, you better keep moving. The worst thing you can do is stay idle, stay stagnant. I don't care if you have a no mortgage or I had 2 mortgages at that time. I had 2 loans on my property. I had a tax lien on my house. You know what I did? I was working at a pizzeria, painting houses on the side. Okay. Not bitching and moaning. In my mind, I was upset, but hey, look, you can lay down, but the world's going to keep kicking you. Okay. So what you got to do is you got to keep it moving. Whether you're a nomad or you're a static person, you got to keep it moving. Okay. Because that's what it is. Good job. Liz, thank you again for the super chat. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm thankful for that. Luke, this is something that should definitely be addressed. I hear you, brother. Liz, been downsizing in a serious way. Well, I don't think you're ever going to go wrong downsizing. For about 8 years, damn. You better tattoo number 80 on your body somewhere. I'm almost dug out. Well, praise the Lord. That's a long time. May try and live in Corrado. You should do it, Liz. Liz, if you got a Corrado, you should use it. Okay. Even if it's not long term, have an exit strategy. But at least go through the experience of living in it. If not, sell it. That's my opinion. You should do whatever you want. Because either use what you have or get rid of it. So either sell, and if you want to sell it, let me know how much you're offering. I may pick it up. Shit, I'm looking at a Corrado. But what I would tell you is this, Liz. You're doing the right thing, though. Downsize everything that isn't hard to figure out first, because you know that way you don't get stuck on, like, should I sell the Corrado or should I live in it? Downsize everything else first and then go from there. But if you're single and you have no kids, you shouldn't have more belongings than that could fit in your Corrado. Your Corrado should be able to hold everything you own. I don't regret downsizing. I looked at a home base even with the travel trailer on it, and it had like some storage, some cabinets. I said, what would I put in all these cabinets? I'm not going to buy stuff to put in these cabinets. I don't want anything. But everyone's different. So, you know, some people may want more clothes. Everyone's different. So I don't want to project my dream on anyone else. But I want to encourage you. Whatever your dream is, San Francisco, whatever, you know, you're blessed to have that Corrado. Use it. Get out there. Nothing lasts forever. But you enjoy the journey. You enjoy the experience. And if you're living below your means, if you're living simple, you have a lot of flexibility. A lot. And flexibility is your greatest asset. Never forget it. Okay. Whatever walk of life you're in, if you have a house, just always remember that the more obligations you have, okay, and a mortgage is an obligation, the less flexibility. I'm not saying a mortgage is wrong, and I would still consider getting one at some point. But I always honestly share with you guys, I recognize the trade-off, even if it's below your mean, is you lose some flexibility. Why would you give up some flexibility if you're ready to settle in a little bit, to give up some freedom? But if you're at a point where you gotta go out there and kind of figure out what you want to do in life, then you shouldn't give up your flexibility. If you're not sure exactly what your plan is, don't give up your flexibility. Don't. Because you need your flexibility more than ever when you're not sure on the vision. Good job. Little fiery one, Sam, good to see you. Shout out to Idaho. Fire emoji to you. Love to you. Journey with Jordan. Yeah, he broke it down. Failure to plan is planning to fail. Your life will, all caps, change for the worst if you don't take action. My experience, I agree. Have a goal, have an aim, have a focus. Aim for the moon, even if you miss, you're amongst the stars. John Sutter, love to you, brother. Shout out to Boston. Tony, Sam, good job. Stay positive. Thank you, brother, for the encouragement. Tony says, he quoted me, be content in the moment. Yeah, and experience life now. Amen. Guys, while you're figuring out life, fully submerge in the ocean every day. Because if you don't realize how blessed you are to live by the ocean, you're never going to realize anything. Okay. And if you're living in the Jersey Shore, if it's summer, get your ass to the ocean. Okay. If you're in Boston, dump in the harbor, man. I don't know what you're going to do in Boston Harbor. I've been to Boston Harbor. I've been to the Cheers bar and all that. I did like Boston, the city. I mean, it was very diverse. I did a couple of videos from there. And I enjoyed walking around. But that was when I was just like exploring. That's why I spent like, even when I had the house for the first couple years, when I was downsizing, it took me 2 years to downsize. I don't know if it should take you 8, shout out to Liz, but it should at least take you a couple years to downsize, even a single person. Now, if Liz got more stuff than me, I can understand why it took her so long. It's not easy. Throwing out stuff is very hard, guys. I understand that. Nothing harder than throwing out something that still has the tags on it. That's perfectly good and you could be used. You gotta throw it out though, because it's hard to sell stuff, hard to get rid of it. But, for the first couple of years, even when I had my house at the end, I would take weekend trips. I would travel around. Florida was my goal, but I still wasn't sure. And that's why I kept my flexibility, because I wanted to see other places. I was in a time window to experience things. I wanted to live life a little. And I'm glad I did. Because if I just came right to Florida and I didn't experience the other states, I didn't visit the entire United States, but I went up and down the East Coast a couple times. And now that kind of gives me a peace of mind that I know what's out there. I know what I like and what I don't like. You have to figure out what you like and what you don't like. And when you're not sure, keep your flexibility, because that's an asset. Good job. Gina, Israel's in the house. Always good to see you, Sam. Shout out to you, man. Israel's too small. Israel's like being in Key West. I don't even like Key West because I feel like I'm trapped. I can't get out and explore. And so, when you look at Israel on the map, it's a very small piece of land. You should Google Israel and then do Google Maps and zoom in, zoom out. Anytime you hear something discussed, a place on the earth, for whatever reason in the news or something just comes up studying human nature, you should Google its geographical location. Many things can be discovered by looking at the geographical location of something and what surrounds it. Very interesting, guys. Make a habit of that. Even in Florida, when someone tells me about a town or about an area, what do? I Google Maps it. And I zoom out. Not just like zoom out of the street. I zoom all the way out of the state, and then I look in the surrounding area from the blimp view, and I get a feel for the culture, for the vibe, for the roads, and for the ins and outs. You have to develop that mind, especially when you're in exploring mode, especially living on the road, and even preparation for traveling to an area, vacation, whatever. Love to you, man. Liz, moving for a year, good job. Will live small, good job. Low maintenance, great job. Corrado, a private, accessible pot. I like the Corrado. Chrissy, hey Sam, thumbs up. Liz, moving for a job, yeah, good job in the Bay Area, that's right. Hoping to rent a driveway, I think that's a good plan. Take your Corrado out for the weekends. And why I would like that plan if you did decide to move into Corrado, because if you're starting a new job, you want to keep your flexibility. Because a new job is very volatile for the first 12 to 18 months, and usually for the first 12 months, okay? So for the first year of a new job, you have to settle in. And so what's your best friend when you're not ready to settle in or you haven't settled in? Flexibility. So if you're living in a Corrado and if you're just renting a driveway, you have a lot of flexibility, or just staying at campgrounds, a lot of flexibility. And in my opinion, I don't know the Bay Area too well. I would look at surrounding areas that you can go to a campground. Because unless you can get a driveway for real cheap and somewhere you feel safe, a campground is better because you're not committed to a person. You're just in a campground and you have more privacy. And if you don't like it, you can pay by the night. You can get out of there. Even an RV park. Now, RV parks, some of them could be trashy, but staying in a person's driveway, you're really intimate with that person. So that's something I'd really be careful with. Good job. Gina, Sam, you're very smart. So are you, brother. And intelligent, thank you. With your experience in IT, thank you. I think you'll always be able to find a good paying job. Thank you for that compliment. And won't have to do DoorDash. Maybe DoorDash CIO, brother. Well, I appreciate that. And again, I like DoorDash because it's on my terms. But I believe that's true. Nothing's guaranteed though. And that's why I did the experiment, because I want to know my options. Okay. Again, I'm thankful I had a mortgage young in my life, because that pushed me to build my career. If I kind of didn't have to be, but I know some people had a mortgage and it didn't push them, it just buried them. Because some people are self-starters, some people aren't. There's no one exact science to life. Some of it is, some people are go-getters, some people aren't. We all need the grace of God. So I don't care if you're smart or whatever, it's only by the grace of God. Meaning that, you could have you could have been born with any brain, you could have been born anywhere in the world. You can't take credit for every gift that you have. At the same time, you can't always say that someone else is good and you have it bad. Because what I've learned in life is those type of people, they don't take any accountability for putting any effort into their life. So there's a balance between saying, look, I've been blessed with certain things, but also saying I put in the work. Okay. So you don't want to be too boastful, but you also don't want to let someone that hasn't put in the work of their life guilt trip you, because look, even if you're not too, what they would say, intelligent, I've worked at a pizzeria, guys. When I was down on my luck, I worked at a pizzeria. I've worked DoorDash when I didn't have to. So like I say, I mean, look, I wouldn't want to, but if I had to, I would clean a toilet bowl at Walmart. Why? Because look, I've always equated money as freedom. Like even though I joke with you guys, but I'm not joking too much. Like if I got a bunch of money, I would Scrooge McDuck. I would build a gold pool and just swim around, but not because I worship money, but because I like the freedom that it gives. And that's why I was always willing to work for money. I wanted to work. I remember being like 16, 15 and going to Burger King and different places, applying for jobs. I couldn't wait to work, not because I wanted to work, but I wanted a paycheck. I always wanted a paycheck because I always knew the quicker I can make my own money, the quicker I can live life on my terms. Okay. So when you sign a mortgage, there's certain terms that you're obligated to. Okay. But whether you have no mortgage, which I currently don't, but either way, you have to have an income. So again, it goes back to you have to have some, whether, and if you're living off investments, at some point you had to have made enough money to live off investments. So everything is a progressive buildup. But thank you for the compliment, and that's what I always tell people. Always got to have income. Good job. Tony? Assalamu alaikum. I was at it. Yeah, don't say, hey, I'll take that. That's peace. What is that? Okay. Journey with Jordan. Shalom. Yeah, that's the Jewish thing. Is the most respectful and loving a Jewish person can say to you. Yeah, now the person who taught me that wasn't Jewish. They were born again Christian, but a lot of born again Christians, they're very much into the Jewish faith, even though, again, he did wish death on his ex-wife and he was pro-life. So he would say shalom to me, but I don't know how you say death in the Jewish faith. But he was basically saying he put a mortgage pledge, a death pledge on his ex-wife, but he said peace to me. So what I say? I said, thank you. Hey, look, thank you. I love him. He was a good guy. He helped me a lot. I'll never forget him. If he watches, I still love you. I love everyone. Thank you again, Liz, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let's take a hydration break. And let me see if anyone got blocked. I don't think anyone got blocked. No, we're positive tonight. Tonight's positive. Let's take a hydration break. Okay. Free to be. I'll settle reparations for Ford Transit Naked. I'm not mad at that. Hey, brother, I would give it to you. I'm a UBI guy, man. I'm not mad at that. I love to drive. I'm late. Hey, Sam. Hey, I love to drive. Backwoods. Hey, brother. I hope life's treating you good, man. Well, thank you, Backwoods. Backwoods, damn it. Positive person, man. Backwoods, you've been a blessing to me. I just want to say thank you. You keep going on your journey, brother. I got faith that you're going to figure out whatever you want to do in life. Positive person, doesn't complain. Guys, who do you want to be around in life? The thankful. There's one thing I look at in life. Now, I mean, I look at Puerto Rican girls. I like Puerto Rican girls. I like Asian girls. I like all girls. Pakistani, everyone. But every time I see a girl or a guy, but I'm going to say girls right now, that isn't thankful, I get upset. It's like in the Bronx Tale when Sonny the OG told Coligio, like, if you ever like give a girl a test, this is back in the days when they didn't have automated cars, if she doesn't open up the door for you, she's unthankful and she'll never change. Now, that was a movie, and I'm not saying I glorify, the mob life. But I think there's wisdom in if someone doesn't extend to open up the door for you, there's a level of unthankfulness. Sometimes I see a hot girl running to Starbucks, and she let the door totally slam behind her. Damn near hit me in the head. I said I would never date her. Now, I wouldn't date her anyway because I like to masturbate in the sock. But what I'm telling you is there's something in my mind that sticks out. Now, even my mom, I remember when I was very young, I thank God for my mom. She used to always kind of tell me that, like, Sam, always hold the door open for people. And my mom was always thankful. My mom was never perfect, but she's a thankful person. And my father, he did a lot of good things for me. So I don't want to shit on him, but he was a little bit sometimes unthankful. And that's why I talk to my mom. I don't talk to my father. I don't want to keep anyone in my life that's unthankful, guys. It's a death pledge to be around the unthankful. Don't try to change anyone, guys. Say, who are they and do I accept them? And if you don't accept them, don't hurt them, but just get away from them. Backwoods, stay positive. Jaybird, hey, Sam. I am house cleaning. Good job. Spend my days in wealthy homes. I'm not mad at that. Look, guys, here's another tip. If you guys aren't rocket scientists, you don't have a lot of college degrees, clean houses. You can do that on the road or you can do that stationary. I know a girl I went to high school with. She opened up a cleaning business, and you can make a decent living. Most people charge you, I don't know, $100 to clean a house, even if it's $50. You put a couple of those together in a day, you clean a couple houses a day. Guys, you can easily make 50 grand. How much do you have to make a day to make 50 grand? $250 a day. Okay. In my trading research, I remember that how many days of trading are there? Usually around 250 days. That's usually a Monday through Friday, and it excludes holidays. So if you went on Monday through Friday and you excluded the weekend and holidays, if you made $250 a day, okay, for 250 days a year, because again, we don't work 365 days a year, and you wouldn't want to, you burn yourself out. So if you worked for the normal 9 to 5 or whatever yourself, and you worked a cleaning business, if you made $250 a day, guys, you just figured out how to make 50 grand a year. Okay, pre-tax, but still. Again, you can clean houses. That's a hustle, man. Because most people have a mortgage. They have both people work in the house and they need someone to clean it. So guess what? If you have no mortgage or if you have a small mortgage below your means, if you clean a couple houses, guess what you did? You just paid your mortgage and you're living life on your terms. And you moved from New Jersey to Florida. Why? Because you figured out all I got to do is clean houses. Guys, if you come to some of these places in South Florida, big money. Believe me, they would hire people to clean their houses. They hire caretakers. What's another job you could do if you didn't have a big college degree? Be a caretaker. Now, guys, I've been around the senior citizens. They need caretakers. And that's a noble job. And guess what? The kids that are working a full-time job to pay for their mortgage, they're hiring people to take care of their parents during the day. Guess what you could do? You could be a caretaker. And that's an honorable job. Guys, there's ways to make money out there, man. You got to go out there and get it, though. No one's going to give it to you. Good job. And then she goes, yeah, the homeowners, while the owners are at work, they make money, to pay you. And I'm not mad at that. That's how the economy keeps going. Good job, Jaybird. Journey with Jordan. Journey with Jordan. You could store extra socks in the cabinet. So that's a good suggestion. Because I've been real horny lately. And guys, I've always had a good sex drive. Now, sometimes I failed in the bed. I haven't always pleased a girl, but I've been pretty good at different times, but sometimes I failed. So I don't want to try to act like I'm all great. But what I can tell you is, guys, especially at this point in my life, I got a good sex drive, guys. And as I got older, I got more confident and I got experience. And like sometimes I feel like, damn, it's good not having commitment to a sock, but I feel I enjoy pleasuring a woman. And I feel now with my confidence and my experience, I can really make it rain for them. I remember the first time I made it rain on a girl, and it was magical, guys. Now, like a full ocean came out. It was very magical. Now, just with fingering. Now, I know that's too much information for some of you people, but I got to share. It's very important to me. But there's too much commitment that comes with that. It's fun for that moment. You know what happened after that? The next day, that girl came to my house unannounced. Okay. And I was still living in my mom's house. I don't know what I was just before I moved out. I don't know what I was, 21. She came to my mom's house. She saw my mom's car. She thought it was another girl's car. She kicked my mom's car, and we got in a huge fight. Not worth it. Not worth it. So, nice lady. And have I ever been look, I've been caught too. I failed, and I overdid it sometimes with girls. I never kicked someone's car. But I can understand. I don't judge her, but I'm trying to say it's not a judgment statement. It's a statement that sexual relationships go downhill quick. Okay. Now, if you're lucky enough and you have a lot of passion, that's helpful. I remember, and I got to a certain season of my life where I thought, well, maybe the magic is not in the sexual relationship part, just having a friend. And I remember going to see my eye doctor, Asian girl, and I was thinking about her when I was sitting there getting my eyes looked at. And I was saying, well, I think I'm at the season of my life where I have to start looking for a best friend to be my lover. And she goes, Sam, I see I like an Asian accent, very exciting. She goes, Sam, no, you definitely need to be friends, but you also need a level of passion. You got to have passion. So that stood out to me. Then I remember one day being in like in some type of a clothing store. And they were old ladies, like they were shopping together. And they were talking about, and they were gossiping. Look, guys, if you think guys talk about sex, wait till you get a bunch of ladies together. Like, that's why, like, when Trump said, like, he touches a girl's snatch, I didn't get me upset because I grew up with sisters. I've been around women. I hear how they talk about men. So believe me, I'm not impressed. So these old women, like, they were talking about their husbands and about their ex-lovers and about life because they were older. And they go, yeah, it's interesting part getting to this stage in life. He goes, there's no passion. And my husband doesn't get passionate anymore, and I can understand that. But I'll get passionate tonight in my campground. I'll have my earbuds in. I'll watch. There's a couple girls that I saw today that I took a screenshot in my mind and I'll masturbate to. Now, some people, they get real upset at that. I don't know why. It's part of life to have sexuality. I'm not talking about committing adultery. I'm not talking about like forcing yourself on people. I'm talking about healthy self-pleasuring. Now, if you want to get in a relationship and you want to pleasure with other people, again, I don't think you should get a mortgage just because you want to, have sexual relationships. But that's only a small part of a relationship. They estimate even in a passionate relationship, you only spend 5% of the time having sex. So most of the time you're going to spend on the phone, going out for a date, doing different things like that. Only 5% of the time with a person do you actually have sex. And as you get older, that gets less. So what are you doing? You're basically saying 95% of the time we're going to just hang out and 5% of the time we're going to have sex. Is that worth it? Maybe for some people, I don't know. But I definitely don't want kids. I'm good with kids too. It's amazing. I see some of these psychopaths that are good with kids and I worry about them. Sometimes, like, you could be too good with kids. I worry about, like, is this person a molester? I'm good with kids, but I don't like kids. Okay. I don't like obligation. That's how I feel. But let's continue to read after I take a hydration break. Liz, thanks, Sam. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. Dan, just finished watching a documentary on DMT. Very interesting stuff. I hear Joe Rogan, when I watch his podcast, sometimes talk about that. What does DMT stand for again? Some type of drug, right? I'm not sure. Free to be me. Hit that like button. I appreciate you guys clicking that thumbs up button. Thank you for the encouragement, brother. Peace to everyone, brother. Peace to be with you also. John Sells. Good conversation tonight, Sam. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that, man. Backwoods at Gina. DMT is very interesting and mind-expanding molecule. I took it once. What is it? And it changed my life forever. For the better. Really? Positive vibes is all I left and seen lots of trippy patterns. Well, you're a positive person. What does that mean, DMT? I've heard of it, but I don't really know what it means. Backwoods, you're very welcome, Sam. I really appreciate it, Sam. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Real talk, that people that know me really respect me and like because who I am and the stuff I do for people. I always have a positive mind. Well, I appreciate that, and I see that in you. But here's what I want to tell all the good-hearted people out there, okay? You can get taken advantage of, and you can burn yourself out. So that's why I tell people sometimes just make sure you take care of yourself enough. You don't overextend yourself helping others or trying to encourage others, because I've been through that season of life where you overinvest in someone else's encouragement and you forget to encourage yourself. Don't do that, okay? Make it rain on yourself, masturbate yourself, and enjoy yourself, okay? Because one thing I definitely know in life is resentment comes from not taking care of yourself. Resentment comes from trying to encourage someone else more than you encourage yourself. So the same effort that you put into encouraging someone else, you got to put to encouraging yourself. Very important. Good job. Backwoods clapping. Good job. Hey, Bush. What's up, man? I'm cleaning condos in Panama City. Well, I'm not mad at that. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Panhandle, but Florida, any part of Florida is still better than most other parts of the world. So shout out to you and shout out to the money bag. Why? Because you're making a money bag cleaning condos, and that's another hustle we can do, guys. Make bank. I totally agree with that. Good job, hey, Bush. Whoa, what's up, Sam? Sam, can you make $500 to $1,000 a day cleaning houses easy? Well, I think that would be high. I'm sure you could, but I think that's too high of a goal. I think you should have goals, but I think you should start small. I think you should dream big, but start small. So just like a big mathematical equation, you should break it down to small steps. So if you wanted 1,000, I would start with a goal of 100. Try to make $100 a day in cleaning your houses. And do that for a period of time. Don't just go from 100 to 200. Do that for a few months or several months or even a year. Try to make $100 a day. Guys, if you made $100 a day, what is that? And if you work like 250, that's almost $20,000. So, and then from there, you progressively build up. So that's key. Sometimes when you can really discourage yourself is you try to have too big of a goal up front. And like my man Al Illinois said the other night, you want to be a person that hits singles and doubles, okay? Consistently. Now, once in a while, you want to hit one out of the park, fine. But the only way to sustain a lifestyle is to know that you can go to the plate and get on base, okay? You're not always going to hit a home run. So sometimes the objective is just to get on base, all right? So keep the goal small and then progressively build up. Good job, Gina. Some people have everything, and they're always bitter and unthankful. I totally agree with that. That's why I don't spend any time around those people. And that's why you got to enjoy the journey. You can't just wait till you get a home base. You can't just wait till you're living in your Corrado. You should have those goals. And I want Liz to live in her Corrado. I may want a home base. But I've also enjoyed the journey. I enjoyed downsizing. I enjoyed taking weekend trips when I was still living in my house. And as hard as it was, I still tried to enjoy living in my car in the winter in New Jersey. I tried to enjoy every season. Now, you'll stop enjoying things when you've been doing for things too long and you're not moving forward. Because I think you can enjoy things even that you don't like, but if you feel like you're not moving forward, that's when you really get to a bad place. Like example, like when I was in New Jersey and I was living in my car in the winter, I was still encouraged. Look at my videos. Why? Because I had the anticipation of moving forward to Florida. I kept the vision in front of me to encourage me. Got to encourage yourself just as much as you encourage others. But if I would have stayed in New Jersey in my car for years and years and years and not making any steps closer, then, of course, I would have been discouraged. So, you have to, push forward. Good job. Free to be me. Women have a lot more ego than men do. Not necessarily. And that's why I'm not men going their own way. Because I've met some great women. And I know some great women. And I thank God for women in my life. If I hung around all dudes my whole life, I would be a total disaster. I've seen people like that. I don't want to be like that. So, it's just like anything else. I've met good women. I met bad women. I met good men. I met bad men. Look, I'm at the season of my life where I like to spend 99.9% of my time alone. I don't care if you're man, woman, whatever you are. I watched a thing of porn today. A man and a woman had sex, and then both of them strapped on a dildo, and both of them banged each other. I know, it's crazy. But what I could tell you is this. Don't be men going their own way. Now, stay single and masturbate in a sock if you don't want a relationship, but, understand there's value in a woman's perspective. A good woman, not a bad woman. Just like there's value in a man's perspective. A good man, not a bad man. You want to find good people. And if you can't find anyone good, stay by yourself until you can. There was a season of my life where I got depressed because I wanted to separate myself from certain people I grew up with. Not because they were bad, but because all the time, but because I felt like it was time for me to move forward in my life. Okay. And so what I did when I couldn't find anyone, I just kind of spent time by myself. And I felt like, I'll never find people again. Like when you leave a group of people that you find like you'll never find people but guys, after traveling and after going to different places, there's people everywhere. Like right now too, like I'm in a mature place. I'm confident. I don't really have a lot of expectation. I could easily start up a conversation with a million different people and form relationships. They're out there if you want to form them. But I just don't. But what I'm here to tell you is don't feel like you're never going to meet new people, new lovers. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there, but we become confined to the world that we have built and that we know and that we grew up with. But there's a whole nother world out there outside your 30-mile radius with the friends you grew up with. So, don't be scared to, try new things. Backwards. In business or doing anything for money, the full amount you earn for doing something isn't 100% profit. I agree. Like most is, everything costs, gas, insurance, tools, etc. Yeah, so if you cleaned house, you'd have cleaning product, mops, soap, etc. So there's a cost of doing business. Cost of doing business with YouTube. You got to have a phone. You got to have internet. Your time is your money. So everything has a cost. That's true. You always want to have a business that has low overhead, hopefully. But everything there, it takes money to make money, but still cleaning houses and having, so say you charged $100 to clean a house. Okay. Now it depends on the square footage, right? I mean, you wouldn't charge $100 for a 5,000 square foot house, but let's just say 1,000 square foot house, you charge $100. Okay. I'm sure your cleaning products are probably going to cost 20% of that, $20. And then, it's probably going to take you an hour, 2 hours, something like that. So you're probably going to end up paying $20 an hour, maybe $40 an hour, depending. And you got to have gas. You got to drive to the house. You may have to have insurance. You may have to have some type of a license for your business or something. So, look, there's everything there. You got to calculate all the costs. That's a good point. But you can't be, everything costs. But that is part of business ownership, and I would say I agree. Let's take a hydration break. Mary! Hey, Mary! Hi, I'm into Lot Chat. Well, praise the Lord, Mary. We're just about to take a hydration break. Journey with Jordan. I've seen small businesses that mount flat screen TVs, for people. Much less skill, liability than hanging a ceiling fan. Well, I agree. Again, when you're an electrical contractor in New Jersey, you got to be bonded, and you got to have $1 million liability insurance plan. It doesn't cost $1 million to have $1 million liability insurance plan. It may only cost like $500 or $1,000 a year, but you got to have it. That's the cost of doing business. Okay. So when I go into a house and I charge $125 to hang a ceiling fan, I don't make $125. Okay. I have to take out for my insurance. I got to take out for the tools I use, the materials I get. So, but you still make money. Okay. So it's okay not to make 100% profit. The key is you want to make some profit, and that you want to do something you love. Now, there's times in life where you have to do what you don't love. I really didn't love doing electrical work, but I saw it as a way to build my career and reposition my life. So as you get older, I think you want to put more of an emphasis on what do you enjoy. And sometimes in life, what you enjoy changes. And that's why, again, flexibility is a great asset. And when you have a mortgage, what you do to a big extent is determined by your mortgage. Because for many times, your mortgage or even your rent plays a big part in your biggest monthly line item expense. Because guys, even if you don't have a business, you have a business. Your business is your life. You are the CEO of your life, okay? And your life has a budget. Even if you have no business, you have a budget every month. And your biggest expense is usually housing, a mortgage, or rent. And your budget, many times your expenses determine what type of income you need to sustain it. Now, again, in one sense, a friend of mine brought that up today. He said, Sam, it's actually a good thing you had a high expense ratio when you were younger, because it kind of forced you to get a career, okay? He goes, think about it. If you grew up and you didn't have a lot of expenses, would you have really pushed yourself to pursue your career? Probably not. So, you just have to remember that there's give and take to everything. Kathleen. Hey, Kathleen. Hey. I like to live in a van by the car. That's a little too small. Okay. Yeah, I live in a Jeep Renegade. It is small. I agree with that. But yeah, boondocking wherever. Yeah, that's going to be great. Solar free, everything, love and peace. Well, best of luck to you. Just do the research. Thank you for the comment. Like I say, what car do I recommend people start to live out of? The car they currently have. As long as you can fold down your seats and you don't have a two-door car, start in your car, because the average life expectancy for someone living in a car is less than 8 months. So you don't want to buy a brand new van, put all solar on it, and then after 8 months, you don't like living on the road. And if you're going to boondock, what I'm telling you, I've done boondocking. I've lived in my car for 2.5 years. And you get what they call road weary. You want to settle down. Like right now, you have the itch to hit the road because you're very much stagnant. And I can understand that. I've been there. So here's someone telling you from experience, you're going to get road weary. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I'm still thankful I did what I did. But you should have some type of long-term goal. I had a long-term goal. Move to Florida and maybe eventually get a home base, maybe not. But you should have some type of long-term goal. You should understand the cost, and you shouldn't overinvest in a vehicle. I didn't buy an RV. I did the research. I was looking at it because I knew it was going to limit my flexibility, and I didn't know if this lifestyle was going to stick. Okay. I didn't buy a van. Why? Because I don't like the feel of driving a van. Okay. I drove a Ford E250 when I had electrical contracting business. And every time I drive that van, it's an upright position. There's always rattling around, and I feel like I'm going to lay sheetrock. I don't want to drive my car and feel like I'm going to lay sheetrock. I want to drive my car, my windows down, listen to Sade, thinking about a Puerto Rican girl that I want to masturbate to. Now, I'm not saying everyone should live like me, but I'm giving you some things like the field driving of a van. Unless you have a small Ford Transit Connect, I like them. And again, if you want to invest in a van or invest in RVs, nothing wrong with that. But I'm sharing with you at least some insight. Good job. Jeremy Jordan. Backwoods. Yes, this is very frustrating in my auto detailing business. When I tell people my prices and they think of it as I'm charging them $80 per hour for cleaning their car. Yeah, look, I went through that in business. What I can tell you this is just know the market. So if the average car detailer is anywhere between $60 to $100, 80 is the average. So don't feel bad about it. Oh, never put pressure on the customer. Just say, hey, look, this is what I charge. If you want to get other estimates, feel free to do so. Because I knew the market. As an electrical contractor, I researched the market. How much were people charging for ceiling fans? And so I usually tried to price myself right in the middle. That's part of being a business owner. Like, even if you clean houses, you can't just figure out, well, I want $100 a house. You know, maybe that market, you should, if you're going to clean houses, you should look up online how much people are charging to clean a house. You should actually call other cleaning companies and ask them, look, this is how much my house is, how big it is. How much do you charge? I did that to figure out the pricing. And then you try to pick some type of middle ground where you can make money and it's middle. And then what you do is you price out a job and then you allow people to say, look, if you don't like it, that's fine, no pressure. Go out there and get other bids. And if you're priced reasonably, you're always going to have money. You're always going to get a job because you know the market. You have to know the market value for the service that you offer. And if you do that, you'll always be fine. You won't have to cheat people, but you also won't have to cut your throat. Because every market is different. The Florida market is different than the Idaho market. Like A. Bush is cleaning houses in Panama City. That has a different price range than cleaning in Palm Beach. So, you have to kind of like, know your market and then price accordingly. Good job, Jim. I used to date tourists. Those girls are always leaving a week. Yeah, hey, look, they're looking for a party and won't see them again. No commitment. That's true. That could play on your emotions too. But yeah, no, that's the way to go if you like to do that. I'd just rather have a sock, Cameron, and the PT. Hey, Sam. Hey, Cameron. Whoop. DMT is our bodies. I don't know what does that mean? Backwards. I'm not going to say this right. Dimethamphetamine. DMT, drug natural substance. No recorded deaths ever recorded. I guess I got to do some more research on that. I don't know enough about it to break it down for you. Bagwoods. We're born with natural DMT in our body. It's almost in everything and can be extracted from trees, plants, barks, etc. Okay. Bush. I'm trying to find a British girl. I'm not mad at that. Backwoods. Real talk, Sammy. Yeah, think about it. Maya, hey, Maya. Yeah, the words are full of them. About 8 billion. Well, love to you, Maya, and good to see you. Hey, Bush. I clean houses after people remodel. There you go. My own business, easy, $250 each. There you go. I'm not mad at that. Backwoods. Oh, that reminds me. You should look into getting a PayPal so you can receive 100%. I do have a PayPal. It's in all description of my videos. But super chats tend to be better because there's a level of urgency and there's immediate feedback. So even when I get a PayPal donation, I send an email. But most people don't look in the descriptions and most people don't do that. So this is just an easier way to tip. But I have both available. But either way, it's just a tip. Again, all my videos are free. People watch now for free. If they want to give me a tip, great. If they don't, I understand that. And I appreciate either way. YouTube takes 30 to 40%. It's the cost of doing business. It's like cleaning a house. So the biggest supplement to my YouTube is super chats. If I depended on PayPal, and I appreciate everyone who has ever PayPal me, but the biggest percentage I get through super chats. So it's like saying me cleaning houses and not doing super chats. Super chats are like 50% of my revenue. So without super chats, my channel really wouldn't be worth much. So it's valuable asset because there's immediate interaction. There's an immediate, like when you're at, this is how it is. Like when you go to Starbucks, I pay with my app. There's a tip jar there. So when you go, you either put money in the tip jar, or like it does show up on your app that you could tip there, but it says you can, on your app, it says you have like 2 hours to tip. So after you have your cup of coffee, and then like after you go and you go to the beach, are you thinking about tipping the barista? Not really, because you're not there in the moment. So the value of the super chat is you're there in the moment. You just ordered your coffee. You just got your service. You just got some insight, some entertainment, some knowledge, whatever it is, some companionship. And so, the stripper is right in front of you. I'm the stripper. So when do you tip a stripper? When she's bent over and you can smell her cooch. That's when I would do it. So you don't tip the stripper, you don't, at least on average. You don't tend to tip the stripper when she's on the other side of the bar. She's not even by you. So like once the live feed is over, most people don't tip me because I'm on the other side of the bar. I'm in the back taking a shower after the strip club. So that's give you some insight on the cost of doing business and why Super Chat is more valuable than PayPal. Now, again, I do both and I'm appreciative of both, but that gives you some insight, some realistic knowledge. Good job. YouTube takes 30. Yeah, I just broke that down. I have both. Good job. Backwards. I watch another YouTuber that tells everyone about PayPal. Look, it's just there. I don't really try to oversell myself. I'm very direct with you guys. I don't avoid talking about the issue. It's a tip jar, but I don't try to oversell it. And I don't try to over extort people. It is what it is. The videos are free. If someone wants to tip, whatever way they can. If they don't, they don't. And that's just what it is. Again, for me, that's why I think you always have to have some type of job. A lot of those people who just, they have to push that. That's their main job. And I'm not mad at them. That's their hustle in life. A lot of strippers I knew, that's all they did was strip. Some strippers I knew, they also had a job on the side. So everyone's different. So you do have to communicate your needs to a person. But I'm just, I'm just kind of, it's just out there. People do what they want. Good job. Joel. What's up, Joel? Sam. You look, talk, think, and sound more like a Jewish guy than Italian. Well, look, I don't like labels. Okay, so why? See, but let me continue reading and I'll talk about. Which you have said is your ancestry. Which one is it? I'm Sam. So I'm not Jewish. My heritage may be Italian, but I'm a human. Okay, so I can relate to a Muslim. I can relate to a Muslim that we're more on the same page than a Jewish person I don't like. I can relate to a Jewish person I like more than a Muslim I don't like. It's all about who I like and who my energy. I'm not going to co-sign people just because they're Jewish. I'm not going to say they have a birthright. I'm not going to co-sign people just because they're Muslim. I'm not going to co-sign people just because they're Christian. What was Hitler was partly Christian. I'm not going to co-sign anyone. Moses killed 3,000 people, men, women, and children because of golden calf. Bin Laden killed 3,000 people, okay, because he thought we were infidels. I'm not going to co-sign anyone, okay? I want to know what type of person you are. I don't want to know what your heritage is. I don't care if you're Italian. You know how many Italian people I don't like? So I don't care about labels. I care about who you are, what you do, and how we vibe. So I don't want anyone throwing in my face what they think I am, what I should be, what I shouldn't be. Those type of people, they don't stay in my life for long, okay? Because what they are is scumbags. All right, let's stay positive. Good job. Gina. Sammy, how would you invest $30K just laying in your bank account? I want to invest this money, but it takes me super stress. Well, I would go through a series of steps. The first step is I would have a year's worth of savings, okay? A year's worth of expenses in a savings account. And then I would pay off all my debt. So before you invest anything, you should have paid off, you should have a year's worth of expenses. And even if you have no mortgage, you got to eat, you got to pay insurances, you got to pay for cell phones. So I think at minimum, you should have at least, if you spend $2,000 a month, you should have then what, $22,000 in a savings account, not in an investment account. So if you had $22,000 in a savings account, you paid off all your debt and you had an extra 30, okay, above the 22. So really you had 52,000, you take 30,000 out. Everyone's different. Some people invest in stock index funds. Some people invest in real estate. Some people invest in day trading. I don't want to tell you what to do. I want to tell you, just be prepared to lose all of it and never touch your savings and always have some type of income, because most businesses fail. Most traders fail, at least initially. Even if long-term they figure it out, even Warren Buffett said for the first 8 years, he lost money. That's why he's lucky he's still young. So I don't want to say any one specific thing because that will lead you astray. You have to figure out what you're good at. Some people are good at stocks. Some people are good at real estate. Some people are good at different things or opening up a detailing business. So you have to kind of know what you're good at, or you have to trial and error. I don't want to tell you because then I'll be basically telling you that's not right. I want to tell you put a year's worth of expenses in a savings account, pay off your debt, and then play with the other 30K however you want. Do the research. Good job. Backwards. Journey with Jordan. Watch Grant Cardone if you want to learn how to close any deal, no matter your price. Price is never the objection unless they are just plain broke, but then they aren't your client. Backwards that journey. Be professional, fast, and clean. Customer service is everything. 2, in service industry. The faster you are, get the bid to them. Be on top of your business. You'll do fine. Look, fast. You don't want to be fast to the point though. That you break their windshield wiper. Okay, so slow down a little bit. Okay, like I don't want to be so fast that I hang the ceiling fan 10 minutes, but I don't mount it properly. Okay, so slow down a little bit. And second is, again, when you're living below your means, the best jobs I ever did were the jobs I didn't take. You shouldn't want every job. You shouldn't want to win every car dealing job. You shouldn't want to win every house cleaning job. You shouldn't want to win every electrical bid. There's some jobs out there that don't make sense to take. Okay, so that's why you have to really slow down. You don't want to get your own business and be in the rat race. That's why it's important to live below your means, whether you have a mortgage or not. Because when you're living above your means, that 30K, whether you're doing the stock market or you're doing your business, you're going to blow it. Maybe just because you're in a rat race rush. You have to slow down a little bit. Okay. And yeah, that's what I'll say. Good job. Journey with Jordan. Yeah, that's true. When I first started out, I would compromise too much to just make a sale. Yep, there you go. See, now if they don't like my estimate, I would just walk away. Good job. And let someone else deal with them. Great job. The best job you get is sometimes a job you let walk away. Good job, Gina. The only way to make $1,000K, a million, a day in cleaning houses is if you do it naked and the owner makes it rain on you. Well, hey, I ain't mad at that. Hey, look, hey, sexual satisfaction is neat too. I met a girl in Starbucks today. She was high energy. I said, and we were talking, and she goes, well, I do Starbucks because I need the benefits, the health benefits. Healthcare cost and medical bills are the number one cause of bankruptcy in America. We are the only developed nation that doesn't have universal health care. So you could say, oh, Sam, well, we don't have as high as taxes as in Canada. Yes, but just because you have a lower tax rate, you still have to pay for health insurance, right? So if you have a car dealing thing or you're an electrical contracting business, you may have a 5% lower tax rate, but that extra 5% of your income, you have to go buy your own health insurance. So net, you're paying the same. You're actually paying more on average. So that's why I'm a fan of basic universal health care. It makes sense. But whatever, either way, you got to pay for it. So you want to go on your own and buy it? Fine, I don't care. But what I can tell you is this, you got to pay for health care. Number one cause of bankruptcy. And what I can also tell you is she worked at Starbucks because she needed healthcare benefits, but on the side, she was a masseuse. And I'm not mad at that. Now, I'm sure she may have give some happy endings. Am I mad at that? No. I don't think there's anything wrong with two adults exchanging money for, services, a hand job or whatever. Now, again, there's some places where it's illegal. Robert Kraft did it. He got away with it because the cops illegally put cameras in the massage parlor. But what I can tell you is this, look, come on, guys. That's what I say. Good job. TZ. Hey, Sammy, any ideas for networking at work? Well, it all depends what your job is and what you're trying to network. The number one thing I would say is apply for internal jobs, go interview for them, put your name in front of people, but work good at the job you currently have because your job reference and your relationship with your manager is your number one asset. Because when you go apply for a job and you're networking, you can't just be a politician. People can see a politician a mile away. That's why Hillary Clinton didn't win. She was a pander. So if you think you're going to ass kiss your way to the top, not going to happen. And if you are, that's the type of way I want to live. Networking is important, but how you network is you do good at your current job so you can get a reference from your current manager and you're willing to stay there for a period of time to build up a resume. That's what I did. And then you apply for other jobs. And then you may not get every other job, but one job that I got rejected for, what I did do was I got in front of a person and I presented myself a certain way. And it took me years later to benefit from that, but he remembered me. So what I could tell you to do is what I just told you. Good job. Journey with Jordan's laughing at Gina. Good job. Backwoods. At me. Understand where you're coming from. Thank you, brother. Love and respect. Backwoods at Journey with Jordan. Good job. Don't let customers or clients walk on you or use you. You're providing a detailed professional service that solves people's problems. Good job. People buy stuff to solve their problem. That's true. Good job. Backwoods at Gina laughing good. Jack Fix, what's up, man? I'm with universal healthcare as well. Our country is backwards compared to others in that aspect. To some extent, I agree. Now, again, I see some pros and cons to it, so I don't want to say it's just all sunshine and roses, but I think we can do better, and I think more people would have small businesses if they knew they didn't have to worry about healthcare. I had two small businesses, so I'm not someone who never had a business. And what I can tell you, and everyone in this live chat that's ever had a small business, whether you clean houses or clean cars, your number one concern is your healthcare costs, okay? And that's just the way it is. So if everyone knew they had basic universal health care, you would be way more excited about having your own business, and it would cover your biggest expense. That's the truth. Doug, shout out to Mexico. Oh, I missed Marin. Marin, I'm sorry I missed you. Marin. Shout out to Marin. Up to the Lord emoji. 3 palm trees, 3 hearts. Oh, is a little rain by you today? Smiley face, good job. More hearts. Saying hello. Marin, I love you. Marin, I just called to say I love you. Marin, stay positive. Don't give up, Marin. You're a blessing from the Lord. I love you. Don't give up. Positive self-talk. Good job. Doug. Good evening, Stan. Shout out to New Mexico. It's good to see you now. Always good to see you, brother. I hope all's well. What was the best part of your day, Doug? Fully submersing in the Atlantic Ocean, number 1. Number 2 is masturbating in a sock to a good free porn I saw. Number 3 was talking to my mom and talking to a friend and getting a workout in. That's kind of like my flow of top things. What was the best thing that happened to you today? Jack Fix agreed. Thank you, brother. All right, guys, we got to all the live comments, and I appreciate everyone leaving a comment. I appreciate Liz. Give me a super chat. Thank you. Thank you for putting $5 in my drawers. I appreciate that. And what I can tell you guys is thank you for clicking the thumbs up button, sharing the video. Doug, good evening to you. Stay positive. Guys, look, a mortgage may be considered a death pledge, but it's not a death sentence. You want to live below your means. What a mortgage does do is it gives up some flexibility. And when you're onshore in a direction of life, you want maximum flexibility. There may be a point in life where you want to settle. You definitely want a certain amount of savings. You're definitely going to have to work, or you have some form of income to get your independence, okay? And then, look, you just want to enjoy the journey. You want to be content. What was your best part of the day? Every day you should ask yourself that. And at the end of every day, if you don't have any good parts, then you really got to do some redesigning of your life. Okay? You got to be thankful for your health. You got to take care of your health. You got to go for a walk like some of the emojis that Backwoods just gave me and Marin gave. You want to be by palm trees. That inspires me. You want to be by the ocean. Damn it, Gerald. Love you, buddy. Gerald coming in hot at the end. And you want to say thank you. You want to be grateful. Gerald, I appreciate that, man. You've been very supportive. Thank you, Gerald. You want to be around thankful people, man. People that encourage you. Not that you have to be someone else for. Okay. And you want to look at areas you can self-improve. Sometimes it's painful to watch some of my videos and say, I could do better here, I could do better there. But how do you get better? By doing. I've never gotten better at anything in life by just thinking about it. You have to put thought, you have to research, but you have to do, okay? Because you learn from your experience. And when you're totally lost in life, you keep moving. Because there's nothing worse than being stagnant, being idle. Okay, keep it moving, guys. Go for a walk. Okay, Gerald, I love you and I appreciate you. Liz D, everyone, thank you. Stay positive.